Welcome to the Country Hipster Podcast. My name is Paul. I am the Country Hipster. That music you just heard was none other than the Unholy Four from Charlottesville, Virginia. And the song is Dirty Knife. So go check it out on Spotify, Bandcamp, Apple Music, and anywhere you can find the Unholy Four. Go follow them on Instagram. So real quick to the business. This Saturday, it is March already. Tomorrow is March. For me, March is a very busy time of the year playing music with the Birmingham Six, which, if you don't know, is an Irish rock band out of the Philadelphia area. But also for me personally, it's for my fucking mindset, March 1st is the first day of spring, even though there's like 3 weeks of winter still left after that. Always, like, as a kid till now, and it was in my mind, March 1st is the first day of spring. So tomorrow is Happy Spring. It's beginning of March, St. Patrick's Day season, and Saturday, the 2nd, the Birmingham Six is taking part in the after party of the Burlington County, New Jersey St. Patrick's Day Parade, which is being held down High Street in Mount Holly, New Jersey. We are not going down High Street. We will just be in the tent afterwards.
Which I know you're happy about because you fucking hate parades.
I fucking cannot stand parades. I fucking hate them. So we are very happy to not actually take part in the parade and just have to set up for the after party, which is good. But there's going to be like a lot of cool bands. Derek Warfield and the Young Wolf Tones is like headlining. So that's like actually a pretty big deal. Birmingham Six is obviously playing. The Natterjacks are playing. The Shanties are playing. Jameson Celtic Rock, who friend of the podcast Frank Daly from the Smiths episode, all the way back to like episode 4, I think that was. Is his band is also playing. John O'Callahan is playing. There's like a ton of people playing. And Birmingham Six is one of those bands on Saturday at the Burlington County St. Patrick's Day Parade after party in the tent, which I think is right at the corner of Washington and High Street. You'll be able to see the tent. You'll hear all the fucking music. And then I'm right back at it on Sunday at a solo show. This is my second time playing at Bitchin' Kitten Brewery in Marsville, PA. From 3 to 6 p.m. It is right on Bridge Street in Marsville. So if you keep going straight on Bridge Street from Pennsylvania, you will go over the Trenton Makes the World Takes Bridge into New Jersey. So it's real easy to find Bitchin' Kitten Brewery, and I'll be there from 3 to 6. And you should come to that show because, it's like I said, it's only the second time I am playing Bitchin' Kitten. And more importantly, they will be hosting a Ottsville Record Garage pop-up in May. I already set the weekend that's going to be. We just haven't set the actual date. So that is another reason to go and check out Bitchin' Kitten Brewery. So as you notice, back on the Max Headroom box is my co-host and brother Adam, the country sad man, because he doesn't have this album on colored vinyl.
It's true.
Yes. But so I'll explain real quick why we're doing this via Skype. Again, if you listen to the Jimi Hendrix episode, I said in that I was starting to get pretty congested, and I had a little bit of a chest cold, which is pretty much cleared up at this point. But I was just like, dude, let's just do it Skype, so that way I don't give it back to you. I even had one of our random episodes that we're going to be doing in March was scheduled to record on Tuesday, and I even canceled that, pushed that back a week to make sure everything was good. So that is why Adam is via Skype again, because I didn't want him coming in here and then I get him sick. Because more importantly is next Sunday, you're good next Sunday to film, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be our 50th episode of the season. So Jack told me that you celebrate your 50th episode and you celebrate your 100th episode, and then you just celebrate the hundreds after that. So so we gotta think of something special to do for episode 50. I don't know what that's going to be, but
when Zach and I were in the midst of Summer Movie Club, we actually didn't celebrate our 50th. We celebrated our 52nd because we were a weekly podcast, so that means we had a year's worth of podcasts out.
So that was another thing that Jack had said, was that we were also supposed to celebrate the day that our podcast, which would be the end of March too. So, but that's actually that week's probably going to end up being a random episode. To be honest with you, it's just because of the way my schedule falls out. But
just the way St. Patrick's Day season works.
St. Patrick's Day and then Easter and all that fun fucking bullshit. So yeah, it gets crazy. So
speaking of which, did you get that Instagram thing I sent you of the shirt?
Yeah, I did. I just ignored your message. Yeah, that's pretty good. I saw that. It's like St. Patrick, like legit St. Patrick in his like Archbishop garb, like looking at the snakes, going, "Get gone, get gone."
Wrong get.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah. I did see that. That made me laugh.
Yeah, I enjoyed that immensely.
Yes. So what are you drinking there?
Katai and I are fans of just hanging out at home and drinking shitty beer, so I'm just drinking Miller Lite.
Oh, you've turned into Zach.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. So I am also drinking shitty beer, but much better shitty beer. I got a 30-pack of Narragansett. So
nice.
I got the Gansett right now, so it's probably the only good thing to ever come out of New England. So that's what I'm drinking here.
Clam chowder is delicious.
Yeah, no, I know that is too, but whatever. Fuck New England. Yeah. So Adam, we're here to talk about an album, the Alkaline Trio. Good morning.
We are.
You want to hit me with some factoids?
If you're so inclined to listen.
I am.
This is the like Paul said, this is the album Good Morning. It's the fourth studio album
can you
by
specify
Alkaline Trio, released on May 13th, 2003.
Can you specify how morning is spelled?
Oh, yes, it's morning as in mourning a loss, not morning as the time of day. Which I'll tell a story that I read something on the Wikipedia about.
Okay.
It was recorded at the studio is just listed as Cello, which when I looked it up is apparently a studio somewhere in California, in Los Angeles, Sunset Boulevard.
Ah, nice.
It was released on Vagrant, and produced by Joe McGrath, who I can't find anything on. He doesn't have a hyperlink. And Jerry Finn, who's actually a friend of the podcast.
Okay. Is he how?
Jerry Finn was has producing credits on the Boxcar Racer album.
Ah, okay.
This was the first album with the drummer Derek Grant. Derek Grant has actually since I believe it was late 2023. He actually left the band and was replaced with Adam Willard, who is of Rocket from the Crypt and Offspring,
love Rocket from the
Airwaves and Social Distortion fame.
Mm-hmm.
The band, Matt Skiba, the lead singer, has said that this album was heavily influenced by Ramones and The Damned.
Oh, really?
It
Okay.
debuted at number 20 on the Billboard 200, and Alt Press ranked the song "We've Had Enough" at number 100 of the best 100 singles of the 2000s. The album was met with mediocre to good critical acclaim.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because what I was reading was apparently it meets that same type of acclaim within the band itself. The bass player, Dan, and I apologize if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, Andriano. Apparently, if you asked him, he would rank Good Morning as the top of the number one Alkaline Trio album. If you asked Matt Skiba, he would rank it at the bottom.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of back and forth between the band itself. But yeah, I don't. The other little factoid, what Paul mentioned with the spelling of the title. Apparently, according to the Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt. Matt Skiba was at like a diner or something, and the waiter said good morning to him, and he called the band and said, "What do you think about calling it Good Morning but with a U?" And the rest of the band enjoyed it, so they went with it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Very nice. So this is on your top 25. Well, not your top 20, but your 25 of season 1. So why?
Well, I'll give you a fun little anecdote of how I actually discovered Alkaline Trio.
Okay.
A friend of the podcast and our brother Zach and I were watching MTV2.
Oh, we're talking about Zach, who is the Jack Black denier of the family.
Yeah, Jack Black denier of the family, Zach. Cool. He and I were watching MTV2, and we caught the last few seconds of a music video. And all we caught was the last bit of the chorus where "That's it, we've had enough, please turn that fucking radio off."
Uh-huh.
and we liked it. And we missed the part of, if for people who are old enough to remember, at the ends of music videos, it would tell you the artist, the song, the album, and all that kind of shit.
Little block in the corner.
Yeah, so we missed that. So we were trying to figure out who it was or what the song was called. So I said, maybe, that's it. We've had enough. Please turn that fucking radio off. Now I said, maybe the song's called Radio. So Zach and I look it up, and it turns out Alkaline Trio actually has a song called Radio, but it is not the song that we had heard on MTV2.
All right.
So we kind of started listening to them from there. Kind of fell in love with this album. I actually seen Alkaline Trio. I saw them when, I forget what year it was. It was when I was in high school, so it was anywhere between. It was when I was dating a girl named Jen in high school, so it was anywhere between my sophomore and senior year. I saw Alkaline Trio on Warped Tour.
Okay.
Actually, I was offered tickets to Alkaline Trio about 2 years ago. They were playing at the Fillmore. I think it was like right after the Fillmore opened.
Oh, neat.
And sadly, I was dead broke at the time.
Well, that was more than 2 years ago that the Fillmore opened.
Huh?
2 years ago would have been when they reopened, maybe from COVID, but the Fillmore's been open way longer than 2 years.
I know. I don't know.
Because I saw Frank Turner at the second show ever at the Fillmore, and that was 2016.
Oh, then I'm thinking of something. Maybe it's not the Fillmore.
It might have been. It might. If you're talking 2 years ago, it could have been like when the Fillmore was reopening from COVID, because that would have been about 2 years ago, 22ish, 21, 22ish, or you're thinking of the Met. Could have been the Met.
Ooh. Yeah,
I think that opened about 2 years ago.
All I know is that they were playing at that shit. They were playing wherever the fuck they were playing. I was broke, so I couldn't buy the tickets off of a friend of mine. And then I had actually gone to a party with a buddy, actually with friend of the podcast, Matt, from the Interpol episode. I'd gone to a party with him, and I was the person who was hosting the party. Her husband has some very nice guitar equipment. He has a hanging in the foyer of his house is a Telecaster, an SG, and I can't remember. I think he has a Strat. I can't remember what the last one was. So a Gibson SG has always been a dream guitar of mine. So I was playing it, and I started actually playing Radio by Alkaline Trio. And a girl who was at the party said, "Oh, I just saw them," because she happened to have worked at the venue where they were just playing.
Okay. Well, real quick, I'll let you finish your story. But if you have off on March 6th, they are actually at the Fillmore here in Philadelphia on March 6th.
I was going to say they are currently on tour.
Yeah.
I don't know what day March 6th is.
It's like a Thursday or so, Wednesday or Thursday.
Oh, if it's a Wednesday or Thursday, then I definitely.
Oh no, I know. I know you're not.
Yeah, it's a Wednesday.
Yeah.
But that was something else I was getting to, is they actually are currently on tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always, from discovering them kind of accidentally through MTV2 and learning that they actually have a song called Radio, but that's not the song that I fucking heard. I've kind of always enjoyed them. At the end of the Jimi Hendrix episode, you categorize them as just straight punk.
Yes. So
I've always categorized them as more of like, I've always categorized them as pop punk.
Okay. So yes.
But pop punk with a darker tone.
All right. So,
if you will.
All right. So I will say that I do not get Alkaline Trio, and yes, I was wrong. So I'll agree. Yes, they are pop punk, and I'd said in last week's episode that I didn't really know much about them, which obviously I didn't if I thought they were straight punk. And when I'm talking straight punk, I'm thinking like old school punk, like along the lines of like Bad Brains, Black Flag, Subhumans, like that sort of like punk, that like in your face fast punk kind of, Dead Kennedys ish, you know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. That's kind of what like I was thinking, but I was very wrong. These guys are to punk what Ghost is to metal. That's how I look at Alkaline Trio.
Okay.
So no, it's definitely a pop punk band. But like with this album lyrically, I can't tell if they're trying to be a horror punk band or worse, a goth punk band, because like
so it's funny. I think I've mentioned it before on the podcast. There was a book that I have read. It's called "Nothing Feels Good" and a guide to essential guide to emo culture.
Right.
And in that book, they break down the different types of emos. And one of them is a goth emo.
Okay.
And
yeah.
it lists bands that type of emo will listen to. And there was a point in Alkaline Trio's career, which I feel like a lot of bands in this scene kind of go through, where they wear suits on stage.
But
that specifically listed was suits on stage. Alkaline Trio was something that a goth emo would listen to.
Okay. Yeah. No. Definitely. I hope there's no such thing as goth punk. By the way, the fact that there's a goth emo like scares the fuck out of me. Hopefully, like the darkness of punk just stops at horror punk, which is like, not great either.
When you say goth punk, I like for some reason I'm sure if Kataya was in the room, she'd probably punch me in the back of the fucking head. And I'm sure a bunch of other people would as well. But when you say goth punk, I think Misfits.
No, Misfits are like horror punk.
Okay.
Yeah, they would be like horror punk. They would be like the first horror punk with like Danzig and Doyle and all that kind of stuff.
See, like in my head, when you say horror punk and goth punk, it's the same.
No. There's two different things between goth and like horror punk. Like you know what I mean? Like just goth punk would be horrible. It'd be like kind of like the like fucking Bauhaus but punk, but like there's just like with the lyrics, like talking about like cutting my fingers off and slicing my throat and let's dance in the blood and shit like that. It's like, come on, what are you fucking, you trying to be like a fucking Anne Rice novel but like with punk shit? You know what I mean? It's like it's like that vampire shit that like I don't fucking care what's black, white, and red all over. I don't know, fucking a nun with their spear through her head. Like, this is fucking stupid. You know what I mean? Like, lyrically, like, it was like,
So going into this, I thought it was going to be. I thought Alkaline Trio was going to be hit or miss, and from what it sounds like, it's definitely a miss.
So I'll say this: I didn't hate this album. It's kind of like it's fine, everything's fine. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But like I don't hate it. I'm not mad at it. I'm just disappointed. And I don't know if I'm more disappointed by their lack of creativity or the fact that you put this on your 25. Like I don't know which I'm more, disappointed. Like, cause like these songs, like me and every aspiring punk rocker has written every single one of these songs 1,000 times over. There's nothing special about this album. There's nothing that like jumps out at me like, man, this is fucking good. And it's like, but again, I didn't hate it. Like, I know I'm like talking shit about it, but like, I didn't hate it. It was just like, okay. It's like that happened. Yeah. It's like, it's only what I can imagine when a woman is like really looking forward to good sex and it's just not. And she's like, oh, that's it. That's all you got for me. Like, that's basically like, that's all I could like think of like what it would be like. Oh, okay. Thanks for nothing. You know what I mean? It's like, I couldn't be more indifferent about this album if I tried. And I wanted, I honestly, I think one of the things that disappoints me about this was that like, and I'd said it, that I never really looked into Alkaline Trio. I really didn't know him. I said him in this. So I did go into this with an open mind because I was hoping that I would want to look into more Alkaline Trio after this. I was hoping I would like be like, cool, let me check out more about Alkaline Trio now. And like, now at least I know not to waste my time. You know what I mean? So it's just, it's just, okay. It's an album. It's all right. They did a thing and they talk about like, they're trying to be deep and dark and, good morning, MOUR. Oh, look, we're going to write songs about dying and put a pop punk, drum beat to it, and and some cool harmonies, and but yeah, but it just doesn't work, and it's and I listened to this album in the last week no less than 5 times. No less than 5 times have I listened to this album. So, and probably more than that, because like I was honestly like I was really waiting for something to happen. Like when I put it on at first and the first song starts going and I hear like the guitar, I'm like, okay, this isn't bad, and it was pretty good. And I was just like, okay, what happens now? And it's the next song. It's like, okay, what happens now? Okay, that sounds just like the other 2 songs, and and I hate to be that guy to be like, oh, it all sounds alike. But a lot of their stuff does on this album. Like, again, I'm not going to waste my time looking into more Alkaline Trio, just based on this album. But like, it's just kind of like, oh, okay, this is it. This is all you got for me. Same type of stuff. All right, cool. Thanks, guys. Again, I'm not offended by it. I don't like. It's not like a Say Anything where I was like, oh my god, this shit is so bad. You know what I mean? Like. Yeah. Like that's the thing. It's not bad. It's not bad music. I mean, they do it well. They're tight. At least in the recording. Recording's tight. The songs are written in a punk style that, like I said, every single aspiring punk musician has written these songs, and like I mean, to the point where I'm just like, yeah, no, I use that same exact chord progression on a song that I wrote when I was 15 years old, and I think that's what. Like, if I'm listening to an album and I'm listening to what they're doing, then I want it to be something that I can't do. Does that make sense? Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's just kind of like, I can do this.
To a degree, yes. Like, I'll listen to Dragon Force, because the guitar player for Dragon Force, I know I'll never be able to do what Herman Lee does.
Right.
But I also like to listen to something where I get the feling where that could be me. You know what I mean?
Well, no.
I think we talked about it with Bob Dylan, where I was saying how like, he's not the fucking ideal, like, he's not a good looking dude. He sounds fucking weird. Is like the musically, it's not like the most interesting thing in the world. But he fucking pulls it off.
But so you said a very, very important term there. You said, I want to listen to something that I could do, right? Which makes sense. This is something that I've done or that I do. Do you know what I mean? That's what it gets. It's not like, and I get that, like, oh no, I could do this. I could play songs like this. I could do, you know what I mean? Like a similar style or take on it and grow on it and stuff like that. Yeah. Like I said, there's like a couple chord progressions where I'm like, and I don't remember the song, but I'm just like, man, that was like a fucking punk song I wrote in high school, and we put like words about like fucking sitting in my room to it. You know what I mean? It was just it was just like stuff like that. Like this was like me and Sean from the Unholy Four, and actually Frank Daly from friend of the podcast from the Smiths episode of Jameson Celtic Rock. We had a punk.
I'm taking you on tour.
Cool. We had a punk band.
You've gone to bed.
There you go. Back in high school, that was called Murky Distraught, and all these songs could have easily been Murky Distraught songs. So yeah, like that's the thing. It was really.
You were talking about Murky Distraught before, didn't you? Say that was the band that Frank played drums in?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Frank was a drummer. Sean played guitar. I was the singer, and this dude Mike DeVuno was on bass. And me and Sean actually wrote all the songs for Murky Distraught. Which basically
you didn't play any. You just sang on that.
When we got all those guys in the band, yeah, I just sang. But originally, I was like, me and Sean would go back and forth between guitar and bass and whatnot. But then, like Sean ultimately, like, we both learned how to play guitar at the same time. Like, he got a guitar about a month after I bought a guitar, and we like learned together, and Sean just excelled at guitar. He's like such a better guitar player than I ever was, and ever am. So
which is funny, because the only time I've ever seen you and Sean play together, he was on drums and you were on guitar.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was like our Murky Distraught reunion, but that was like the fucking joke thing, which is kind of fun. But yeah, but that was the thing. Like we wrote like all the Murky Distraught songs together, and then I showed Mike how to play bass, and then Frank just put the drums to it and it all fucking worked. But like,
Yeah.
you know, we didn't need two guitars. It's not like we had like crazy guitar solos and shit like that. So I just sang for Murky Distraught once we were Murky Distraught. But like me and Sean wrote all those songs, which basically means that we wrote this album when we were 15 years old. You know what I mean? And then even to the point where there's like another song on it, and it is in my my top 3 songs where I mention it. Basically the reason it's in the top 3 is because there's a Disunion song that has a very similar feel and chord progression to it. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know.
I like I said when we started, like like I've said before, this album I thought was going to be hit or miss. I knew it was going to be a stretch for it to be a hit. But I understand what you're saying. Like,
yeah.
It's, you know, like I said, I like to listen to something that I can do. You don't want to listen to something that you've done.
Unless it's done well, you know what I mean? And like I said, it's recorded well. I'm not talking about like the quality and even the songs. Like I don't hate this album. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's not a bad album. It's just like I said, I couldn't be any more indifferent about this album. Like honestly, if I never hear another Alkaline Trio song again, I'm like, or here you go. Here's even better. If I hear another Alkaline Trio song again, I'm probably going to think it's Blink-182. You know what I mean?
Now, just out of curiosity, are you saying that? Are you saying that just because you're comparing bands? Or are you saying that because when Tom DeLonge left Blink-182, Matt Skiba of Alkaline Trio became the guitar player / other singer for Blink-182?
Yes, you knew that I knew that information right off the top of my fucking head. No, I'm honestly just saying that because like it's that similar like pop punk that I don't particularly care for. You know, and I don't dislike all pop punk. You know what I mean? I do like some pop punk. It's just, and I don't really have anything against pop punk. I guess it just has to be certain, like, you know what I mean? Like, I like Green Day. Green Day's pop punk. No. You know what I mean? And I like Green Day, and Green Day does things. I
like pre-American Idiot Green Day.
I like even post-American Idiot Green Day. You know what I mean? Either way, it's, you know, but like I do. I like Green Day. I like I don't know, man. I throw Less Than Jake into pop punk. I like Less Than Jake. Really? Yeah, no, I throw them more into pop punk than I would ska. I know some people go, "Oh, well, they're ska." Yeah. And there is a thin line between pop punk and ska anyway, because when you take a lot of pop punk, it's ska without the fucking horns. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, if you listen to the Dancehall Crashers last album, and the Dancehall Crashers are one of the great all-time great fucking ska bands ever. If you listen to Lockjaw's a pop punk album. Do you know what I mean? It's not like the old album. It's not like the Dancehall Crashers old stuff. It's not. It's different. But I still like Lockjaw, and I still like the Dancehall Crashers. You know, I'm trying to think like other pop punk stuff I would like. I you know, like I know there's other bands. I really didn't prepare it, so I can't like really think of them off the top of my head. So it's not that I'm like totally anti pop punk. I do like some pop punk. It's just, you know, Rancid is pop punk to an extent. You know, they have that like thin line between, you know, like the old school punk and pop punk, but they're there. You know what I mean?
I remember texting you one day asking you if Rancid was cool or not, and you said they're kind of both.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, and then you get into Op Ivy and shit like that, which is Op Ivy's definitely a little more ska or ska punk, but you know, still that's all, you know, it's all there. So it's not, I'm not anti like pop punk. It's got to give me something other than, you know, like your 3 chords and your harmonies. You know what I mean? There's got to be more to it. If the lyrics were better, you know what I mean? It wasn't about like cut my fingers off and shit like that, and you know, and you cut off my finger. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, like who cares a shit?
Something that I noticed while listening to the album, I probably listened to it at least a dozen times over the course of the past week.
Well, I know you messaged me like Monday or Tuesday. You're like, wait, this is the album we're doing, right? Because I listened to it like 5 times already.
Yeah. It's I remember listening to it this album the first time, and not really caring for This Could Be Love, the first song off the album.
Okay.
Because of the strain of how weird the lyrics were. listening to the album now, I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of there's the whole theme and what's imagery that they go with is very macabre, and like more than I remember.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think, you know what I mean? Like, they're not horror punk, because if they were, they'd probably be a little cooler. They're definitely fucking they're like gothic punk, and it's like, what? I don't want goth. I don't want goth and punk to have a baby. You know what I mean? So it's just like that wouldn't be good. And it's just like, no, I don't want that. So I'm looking it up real quick. I just looked up like okay, so here would be some bands that would be considered horror punk, right? So you got the Misfits, you have Samhain, which also featured Danzig. AFI is considered horror punk. TSOL, the Cramps, I fucking love the Cramps. You know, so there's a lot of bands there that are, you know, and some of these bands I'm not even familiar with. Young Werewolves, which are somewhat local to the area, to Philadelphia area. Crypt Keeper 5, those guys are from Trenton. I guess. And then Christian Death.
Trenton and Katai's off camera flashing gang symbols at me.
Yeah. Christian Death, which is like definitely another like horror punk. But then like when you get into like pop punk bands, so and I'm just doing like just roughly a Google thing, right? And so out of the pop punk bands here that I would say that I like, right, this list here, I literally just Google pop punk bands. So if you Google pop punk bands, you'll be able to see this list that I'm looking at. I'll list the ones where I'm like, okay, I dig these bands. Green Day. They put Jimmy Eat World as pop punk. They put the Ramones as pop punk, and I love the Ramones. Yellow Card, I don't mind. The Wonder Years they have as pop punk, and I could kind of see that, but you know, I didn't mind that. Bowling for Soup, I like Bowling for Soup. The Jam, which is like really an older band, like I could kind of see that, so I do like those guys as well. So there's like a lot of other bands here. Teenage Bottle Rocket, Rancid's on here. So like it's not that there's not pop punk bands I don't like. But all the bands I listed I think do something different with pop punk. Do you know what I mean? They don't just do like, they're not a mimic. They don't mimic what all the other bands are doing, in my opinion. So
it's fair.
So yeah. And like I said, I really hope, like, you know, like I hope that Alkaline Trio is the one and only goth rock punk band. You know what I mean? Because I don't want that genre to be out there. It's bad enough we have horror punk, you know, but.
I'm trying to think, like, their other albums, like, there's definitely some macabre imagery with their other shit, but I don't feel like as much as there is with this album.
I've seen those things too. It's just maybe another reason why I didn't check them out too much, because I was like, you know. But I know what you're talking about. Their other album covers have had some, like, you know, very darker type of covers, which is. It's the other thing too, like it doesn't really match. You know what I mean? Like when you look at like a Bauhaus, which is like one of like the ultimate goth bands, when you look at like a fucking Bauhaus cover of an album, you know what you're fucking getting. You're getting fucking gothic fucking Bauhaus, Bela Lugosi is dead, dark fucking tones. You know what I mean? No, it's one of their songs. It's actually a Bauhaus song, Bela Lugosi is dead. And you know, when you got like that going in there and just even like Old Susie and the Banshees and like, you know, like that fucking goth shit. It's just like, yeah, this is what I want. And then, you know, you have Alkaline Trio, which has like a goth look, specifically on the front of this cover, and then you listen to it and you're like, what is this bebop fucking doobie, like I'm gonna fucking, you know, dance around, oh, cut off my finger, I keep going back to that because it's stuck in my fucking head, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not fun, it's not funny, it's just, it's not, it's fine, it's all right, I'm fine, everything's fine, it's just, I'm just very disappointed in this album.
You're that meme with the dog sitting at the table where the room's on fire.
Exactly.
Everything's fine, this is fine. Everything is fine.
That's it. That's what it's like. All right, cool. That's really how I felt when this was on. So,
like I said, I knew it was going to be a miss. It was a stretch for hit, so it's not surprising that it's a miss it's a miss for you.
Yeah.
Like I said, if I was off on work on March 6th, I'd probably try to go see them on the Fillmore.
Okay. I'll tell you what. I bet you just based on what they sound like on the album and the recording quality, they're probably super fucking tight live. They're probably very tight band.
Tour, from what I remember seeing them at Warped Tour, at this point, probably 15, 16 years ago, they were tight live at Warped Tour, which is cute. And if you're not going to be tight, I would assume that would be the kind of show you wouldn't be, where like a fucking outdoor festival in the middle of summer where it's 1,000 degrees outside and you're playing on blacktop.
Oh wow, where was the one you went to?
Over in Camden.
Oh, they weren't on the main stage.
The artist formerly known as the Tweeter Center.
Really? They weren't on the main stage. They had them on the side stage.
Yeah, they were side stage.
Really? Okay. I think that's interesting because, like, I would think they would definitely, even then, would be a main stage act on Warped. I mean, like, even when I went to the Warped Tour in '97, the Suicide Machines were a main stage band. They were like the second band, but they were still a main stage band, and I would definitely, even then, would have considered Alkaline Trio to be bigger than Suicide Machines.
Well, now that I'm thinking about it, like a lot of the, like, playing at the whatever the fuck it's called in Camden, the actual stage is what I would consider the main stage, and I didn't see any bands that played on the main stage, but like bands I saw Paramore that year at Warped Tour, they were a side stage. I saw Code and Cambria, they were a side stage.
Maybe they just had it set up differently that year. I don't know.
Yeah, but like they were. I remember getting there late, trying to see the Spill Canvas, missing them. And then the Spill Canvas, Straylight Run, and Alkaline Trio all played on the same stage, and it was all kind of like up on the grass off to the side of what I would consider the main stage.
Yeah.
I don't remember sitting and watching any bands that were actually in the amphitheater of the Tweeter Center.
But there were bands playing in the amphitheater.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I would think they would have had more, especially the bands you just mentioned. Even then, like, so you're looking what year did you graduate high school?
Oh wait, so we're talking like we're talking, and again, we're talking anywhere between 2006 to 2008. So like,
yeah, by that point, like Paramore and
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I that surprises me. And even Coheed and Cambria, like you would think they would be on like the main stage at that point. And even if it was earlier, you know what I mean? I don't know. Whatever. What do I know? I don't know. I just fucking run a podcast. Fucking have an online record store, play music. So. But yeah, man, it's like I said, like I really I was hoping I would really, I will say, like, I went into this with an open mind. I went into like Brand New and Taking Back Sunday. I went into those albums with a more closed mind than I went into listening to this album. That's like how open my mind was with this. Like I wanted to take it in and I really at least wanted to be inspired to be like, all right, let me check out more Alkaline Trio. But this album was just like, okay, I have a feeling this is everything that Alkaline Trio does.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I'm trying to step outside of my like for the band and like think of it analytically. Kinda, yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah. Well, thanks. I won't be wasting any more time on Alkaline Trio. I know that fucking for sure. So, but it's funny because like all of my notes are done. Like I already.
I would say, Paul, you might not have completely cared for this album, but there is a beautiful baby angel.
Yes.
Right above your head, whose opinion matters way more than yours and mine. What does Regina think about Alkaline Trio?
She is just as indifferent as I am on this album. I mean, seriously, no reaction whatsoever. No, she wasn't upset. She wasn't singing. She heard it, no lie, at least 3 times. I played this album for her at least 3 times. Twice was when we Katie was on a work trip last week, so like we had to drive her to the airport and back, and like I listened to it both times, driving her to the airport and then when we were on our way home.
You drove her to Philly International?
No, Lehigh Valley. She went out of Lehigh Valley Airport.
Okay.
So we listened to it, and she either had no reaction or fell asleep every single time she listened to it. So she is just as indifferent about this album as I am.
I kind of wish that Regina was really into this album, because can you just imagine how adorable Regina would be with like just a little baby with like real thick black eyeliner?
We can still make that happen. We can make goth Regina happen. So
goth Regina, her second birthday party is just a goth birthday party.
Well, her first one was a Little Shop of Horrors party, so we're really not that far off. Although, like the day before, we had two parties for her, because the day before was the Little Mermaid party, and then you guys came to the Little Shop of Horrors party. So, but yeah, no, she was just as indifferent as I was on it. And even like today, I tried another time today, and Katie was in the car because we had some running around to do. And I put it on, and like maybe like two and a half, 3 songs in, she was out. She was asleep, and she was like wide awake beforehand. So it was just like, okay, it wasn't just because she was tired. So that brings, we're at the same as far as our likes and dislikes. 11 likes and 4 dislikes for you, and 11 likes and 3 dislikes for me. And now we're up to 10 indifferent albums out of the season 1's albums that we've done. We have a 10 solid indifference. So I will say I was able to pick 3 top 3 songs. So yeah, so I was able to do that.
Didn't say anything.
Yeah, better than say anything. Yes, like I said, I don't hate this album. I don't think it's a bad album per se. It just does nothing for me.
No.
And I know. Again, I'm saying like, yeah, I'm talking all this shit about it. And like, oh, it's this, that. Yeah, it's really not bad. It's not. It's like, okay, like cool. Like I said, it's just kind of like, okay, I had sex, but that's all you got for me. That's it. All right, thanks, buddy. It's like, now I know how Katai feels. So
yeah, she's constantly disappointed with me.
I know. I understand. So
sitting right next to me, she's not paying attention to what's going on.
It's okay. So it's just like you guys are having sex.
Exactly.
So what are your top 3 songs on this album?
Top 3, I'm gonna go Continental, Every Thug Needs a Lady, and Blue in the Face.
Okay. So, Continental was the first song on this album. The first time I was listening to it, where I was like, "Oh, what's this? This is a little different," and I got hopeful for the rest of the album. But not really, anything to hope for. So I do like Continental. That's on there. 100. What is it? I can't.
100 Stories.
Thank you. 100 Stories. And then I did struggle to find a third, like I said, because it's just kind of like, okay. And that was This Could Be Love, and that is the song that reminds me of a Disunion song. Like almost, it's definitely the same key, almost the same chord progression, almost the same riff. You know what I mean? I'll actually have to play the video for you next time you're here and be like, see what I'm talking about? This is like, I wrote that fucking song already. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that is my my 3.
So what's your bottom?
Blue in the Face.
My bottom is actually, it's funny that Blue in the Face is your bottom and it's on my top 3 because I have a depending on what date is, I have a 2 that would be my bottom 1.
Okay.
Either 100 Stories or If We Never Go Outside.
Oh, okay. All right.
Which I feel kind of bad because both of my bottom songs are songs that the bass player Dan Adriano sings.
Okay, yeah.
So I feel bad that I'm kind of singling them out there.
Hey, well, whatever. I mean, like I said, like it was probably a little more difficult for me to find a bottom song on this than it was the top songs, just because, like I said, it's just so much of the same thing over and over and over again, and that was the thing, and. Like I said, I think I'm just disappointed. Like I wanted so much more out of this album and out of Alkaline Trio than what I got, and especially for like all the years I didn't look into them, to actually sit down and listen to it and be like, this is all you got for me? Wow, Adam left. I've defended Adam so much that he left the podcast.
Katai's sitting next to me. Open up ibuprofen and it's just fucking flying everywhere.
Leave some on the floor for the kids. It's great. They love it. So, all right. So what we have here
So wait, while you're grabbing it, let me tell a story.
Go for it.
I bought this album. I can't remember when the fuck I bought this album, but I bought this album in Ocean City, New Jersey, on the boardwalk. I've talked about it before on the podcast. They used to have a store right around 10th and the boardwalk called Sure Things, where the front of it was just a very cliche beach toy bullshit store. But at the back of it was a record store.
Uh-huh.
And I picked up this album, and Paul recently replaced the plastic sleeve that comes on the record, but the original plastic sleeve is still there.
Yep.
And has black vinyl written on it in marker.
Yes.
And I was just actually telling Katai earlier today, I remember walking up to the register with the album, handing it to the cashier, and him looking at the album and going, "Yeah, no shit," and then starts ringing it up. So I did a little bit of research, and so this album it says black vinyl written on the sleeve. From what I found looking up on Discogs, this album came pressed in red, white, blue, green, and I found one pressing that was one disc was purple and one disc was black.
Okay.
So there's a whole bunch of different color variants, and I have the most basic of them all.
Yeah, so this was also distributed by Cobra Side, who I used to do a lot of business with Cobra Side. They have like all of Alkaline Trio stuff. I don't know if they have everything on Vagrant Records, but I know they were distributing all the Alkaline Trio. So I don't know if they had some sort of like in with the band, which they seem to have sometimes. But yeah, they're like a smaller distributor. Independent distributor too. At least when I was dealing with them a lot, they were a smaller independent distributor out of California, and I always noticed that they always had Alkaline Trio stuff, and I always had a bunch of different specialty pressings of Alkaline Trio stuff. But yes, you do have the black vinyl. So this is a 2008 limited edition reissue with a gatefold jacket, which in case people don't know, the nerdy gatefold, the nerdy vinyl fact about a gatefold is it opens up. So you have like usually gatefold is reserved for when you have a 2 LP set, which this is, but it's not always the case. Sometimes there are some gatefold covers that are just a single LP. That happens.
I know I have at least a handful of single disc gatefolds. That was
big in like the 60s and the 70s, where like you would get a gatefold jacket, but it would just be a single disc record. But this is a 2-disc record.
You said it's a limited edition.
Limited edition, yeah. It's a limited edition reissue, which all of them were in 2008. All the different color variants you're talking about, they were all a reissue limited edition thing. Even though I think this came out in 2003, right? So it's probably like a 5-year anniversary record, which I don't know why this album deserved a 5-year anniversary record. Now, it's not listed as 180 gram vinyl, but it does feel like it's 180 gram vinyl.
Yeah, it's got weight to it.
Yeah, so it does. Now, here's what I will tell you. There is only one other copy of the black vinyl listed on Discogs right now.
That was something I noticed where I was finding a lot of colored versions of it.
But only one black one.
The only version of it that I found that was black was the one where one disc was purple and one disc was black. Not a full black.
Yeah, so no, this is there's only one other copy of this listed on Discogs right now, and it's actually listed as near mint and is selling for $105. They have it listed for $104.99. So, honestly, looking at this wouldn't be near mint anyway. Just looking at some of your wear on it, but like. So, and we do things with the A Very Good Plus. So your Very Good Plus value on this is $74.75, bringing it to $75.
It's way more than I paid for it. So
yeah, and that's I'd give you like 75 cents for it. Yeah, there you go. So that brings your running total up to $911. I think you're gonna break $1,000, dude.
911, never forget.
Yeah, never forget. And my running total at $733. So I don't know that I'm gonna break 1,000. So right now you are now up $178 on.
How many records do both of us have left?
Total of 11. You are one record ahead of me right now.
So, there's a possibility I could break 1,000.
I think you're gonna break 1,000. Yeah. So Michael Stripe, we're gonna put Michael Stripe right there. As I go through, yeah, we only have a few envelopes left here. We're getting pretty low. Now I will also say that we have only out of all the records left, we only have a potential guest for all of them, except for there's only one episode that does not have a potential guest on. So all the rest are either.
And I think, if I remember correctly, it's that one that I'm dreading of yours.
It's the fucking probably the greatest album ever written. It's actually, whatever. We won't get into it. Hold on, these are stuck together.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it if we open it right now.
So here we go. So this is number 18. So let's put the box of mic. You know what? I'm just gonna put the box of mic back. Give me 1 second. Sorry, everybody. Michael Stripe. By the way, I don't think Michael Stripe should necessarily count towards the drinking game.
What do you mean?
Well, because Michael Stripe's just, we'd be like people would be wasted by the end of the podcast. We should be the only ones wasted at the end of this.
One time I played a drinking game with Zach's old roommate where we watched The Big Lebowski.
Okay.
And anytime anyone said the word dude or any variation of it, or the word fuck or any variation of it, we drank. And we were playing with Smittix.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So we were pretty fucked up 20 minutes into the movie.
All right. So I'm actually glad you brought up The Big Lebowski because it's going to bring me back. It's going to bring me back to Alkaline Trio. People have told me for years, Paul, you got to see The Big Lebowski. You're going to love The Big Lebowski. This movie has you written all over it. You're going to fucking love this movie. You got to check it out.
Did people say the same thing to you about Alkaline Trio?
No. I'm just saying. Oh, okay. It's just one of those things that like people were like, oh, yeah, man, you got to fucking see The Big Lebowski. Da. Well, I finally saw it like a year ago. And I was just like, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, And it's not like it is dated, but like when I'm watching a movie that's an old movie, I have to put myself back in like 1992 to watch. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I'm not holding it to 2024 standards to a movie that was made like over 30 years ago. So like I am subjective enough to say like yes, it's dated, but like I'm watching it 30 years later.
I think it's a workaholic. The show Workaholics. There's a quote where the girl goes, I want to live in like Jurassic Park times, and the guy responds like, "What, like 93?"
Yeah, exactly. But it's just like it was just like, okay, it's all right. I'm glad I saw it, but it's okay, and that's how I feel about this album. It's like it's fine, everything's fine, it's okay, but it's not earth shattering. So here we go, box of mic number 18 right here. Let's see what we got going on. Who do we have? Come on. Ooh. This is a good one. This is one of me. This is one of mine. Our potential guest for this episode is a former member of the band that we're going to cover.
Oh, yes. I've been waiting for this.
Yes. So that's kind of cool. It's one of mine, and it is River City Extension, the Unmistakable Man. So we're going to have to talk about this real quick. So their stuff, River City Extension, number one, they're a band out of Toms River, New Jersey. I believe they were on French Kiss Records. Oh, XOXO Records, which is a smaller label. It was distributed by Red. So this band was not huge by any standards. They were definitely a college radio band, but they did some shit. You can't really hear a whole lot of River City Extension on the major streaming services.
I think we've established that this album isn't on Apple Music, where I generally listen to my albums, but it's on YouTube.
Yes, it's not on Spotify. It is not on Apple Music, but it's... I don't even think it's on YouTube Music. I think you literally have to go onto YouTube and listen to it on YouTube.
You have to actually search the album on YouTube.
And you can hear the whole album on there. So if you are trying to listen to the albums, which I know some people try to do, they try to listen to the albums prior to the episode or around the episode. Look up River City Extension. The album is And the Unmistakable Man. You're going to have to look it up on YouTube and listen to it on there. I'm going to have the pleasure of spinning this a bunch of times, which is great. I'm very, very, very excited about this album, and I'm going to have to reach out to the person who it's funny. I reached out to her before we even recorded episode 1.
Yeah,
and
I remember you saying.
Yeah, and saying like, hey, me and my brother are starting this podcast. This is what we're doing. One of the albums on our top and on our list is River City Extension, The Unmistakable Man. Would you want to come on the episode? And right away she wrote back, that sounds like a lot of fun. Let's do it. Yeah. So hopefully I'm going to reach out to her. I know she's going through some life things lately. Good life things. So hopefully.
Yeah, I remember you saying there was a potential where she might have to be our first Skype guest because she was with child but has since had that child.
And now she's literally with child because she has the child. Yeah. Yes. So so that'll be exciting. We'll see. I'm going to reach out to her, see what we could do. I might have to pre-record something, which actually makes this even better because it's going to be our 50th episode, and we said we need to do something special for the 50th. So this could be our first.
So what better than what more special than to have somebody who is in the band? She was on this album.
She's
correct?
on this album. She's all over this album.
What more special would be than to have someone who was on the album we're covering on the episode?
That would be pretty fucking amazing. So I'm gonna have to work the phones, work the social media, see if we can work this out. I'm super fucking psyched for this album, man. I love this album. So yeah. So this is definitely, this uplifts me after having to like listen to Alkaline Trio for a fucking week. So I'm excited about this. Do you have anything else to say about Good Mourning?
Yeah, just listen to it. Go to your local Hot Topic. Make sure you get some good eyeliner. What's an eyeliner that doesn't run when you cry?
Tarte.
Tarte?
Yeah.
Kitai says Tarte eyeliner doesn't run when you cry. So Tarte eyeliner, your local Hot Topic, this album. Have a good time.
Yeah. Yep. Or if you want to like literally put something on that sounds like every other pop punk band out there, and you waste your time for about a half hour to 40 minutes, you can do this too. It's great. It's swell. Let me tell you. Mm-hmm. If you want to be disappointed, like I've been disappointed for the last week with Adam, this is how you do it.
Or if you want to wear a studded belt.
You can wear a studded belt and be disappointed and listen to Alkaline Trio Good Mourning.
Skateboard behind your local mall.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
You can do that as well.
Yes. It's a shame that the skate park isn't still there at Franklin Mills, you know?
Oh, yeah. They got rid of that long ago.
Yeah, I know. Hey, man, Tony Hawk skated that half pipe. So.
Did he?
Yeah, because they took it from the X Games.
Really?
Yeah, the half pipe that was in that skate park that was in Franklin Mills was used at a lot of the ramps were used in the X Games.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. The X Games, the 1 year it was in Philly, they took a lot of the stuff.
It was in Philly a couple years. It was in Philly
2 or 3 years in a row.
Yeah, a couple years in a row.
Yeah. I was working at Sugar Mom's the first year. It was fucking ridiculous that Friday night. So, but at any rate, that's all I got. You got anything else? That's it. We're good.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I've been waiting for this fucking album to come up on your list, so I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, no, I am super excited about this album. I've been waiting for this as well. So, on that note, it is time to